With recent rumors of the People Mover returning to Disneyland's Tomorrowland and the sudden announcement of a new Disney Vacation Club lounge coming to the currently largely abandoned launch bay, it made me start to think, can Tomorrowland at Disneyland actually be saved? Or has the current Disney administration found a cheap and quick loophole to try and temporarily fix a long and complicated, expensive problem? In today's video, we will look at every location inside of Tomorrowland at Disneyland and judge its current value to the Disney Parks guest experience, while looking back at the location's history and how it initially became a part of Tomorrowland, while also looking into its perceived problematic future. Because committing to the People Mover returning is committing to the currently outdated, mismatched disaster of Tomorrowland at Disneyland. Greetings, fellow citizens of Tomorrowland. Brickey here. Let's start at the opening of Tomorrowland. This location was the original home of the world clock. And even though most Disney park guests would prefer an attraction over a clock, I would also argue that most Disneyland guests would choose the previous location for the Tomorrowland spinner attraction, the Rocket Jets. The Rocket Jets allowed Disneyland guests to partake in a thrilling flight that was a 50-foot circumference, while doing so over 3 stories up in the air, atop the People Mover loading platform. The Rocket Jets circled above Tomorrowland from July of '67 to January of '97, almost 30 years. But in 1998, the Astro Orbiter would replace the Astro Jets, and the opening of Tomorrowland has never been the same, except for the time they completely took it apart a few years ago for an intense refurbishment. And you know what? I didn't miss it being there. The Astro Orbiter is Tomorrowland's Tarzan's treehouse. You walk around it and you deal with it and struggle with all the congestion that it creates, way more than you've ever ridden it, which for me is 0 times. This first location I think could quickly go away. I'll explain why later in today's video. Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin opened in the Magic Kingdom in 1998. 7 years later, Disneyland would get Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters. The show building originally housed Circle Vision 360. In 1997, as part of a significant makeover of Tomorrowland, the Circle Vision Theater was removed, and the space became part of the queue for the now infamous Rocket Rods. And Rocket Rods is the attraction that illustrates what happens when Disney park executives try to save money and use what they already have. And one of the main reasons why Tomorrowland has been in a constant state of decay since the attraction went down in September of 2000. That's 22 years of dead track running through Tomorrowland as of the D23 Parks panel announcement this weekend. Circle-Rama was the original attraction in this location, opening in 1960. And even though that date places this building in the first decade of Disneyland, it's not an original Tomorrowland building. Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters gets points from me for being a dark ride. However, as far as gameplay attractions go, I would argue that the new Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run and Web Slingers add more of a challenge and sensory immersion that today's generation of younger Disneyland guests is more familiar with. However, Midway Mania not only hosts Buzz Lightyear, but is also the absolute best gameplay attraction at the Disneyland Resort. Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters is a redundant attraction at the Disneyland Resort. This building is not an original Tomorrowland structure, but is now home to its 3rd tenant in over 62 years. At least this building that is part of the People Mover track is active, unlike many other locations we'll discover today. Still, nothing here excites me enough to commit to this attraction and this building, making it another 6 decades into Tomorrowland's future. Our third location, Tomorrowland Terrace Galactic Grill, offers us our third design aesthetic. That's 3 locations, 3 different looks. Have you noticed that all 3 areas have a different design theme color palette, textures, and even design inspiration, we are now 3 for 3 on nothing matching, which is something you don't see in any other Disneyland. Which to me is one of the main arguments for not saving Tomorrowland, and instead committing to a hard reboot that will take longer and cost more money, but will offer a better experience for Disney park guests for decades to come, and even provide the executives more of a financial return over the years. This retro-futuristic, Jules Verne-inspired location may be one of the last functional spaces that illustrates the vision of Tomorrowland in 1967. Over the years, as Tomorrowland has become a patch it instead of replacing it land of design, it's an odd reminder of the greatness that has been buried. Tomorrowland Terrace is Tomorrowland's example of buying an old house, and while renovating it, you find an original detail of the house, and you think, who put carpet over this gorgeous original hardwood floor? Or who thought a drop ceiling was an excellent idea to replace this original? But in the process, you are too far into your renovation and the original greatness is too beat up to save. So it ends up being best if you just moved on. And so too, I think we should let this location go, even though it's a great souvenir of better days and of a better tomorrow. Nothing I can say here will be as good as this video I did earlier this summer, before the People Mover rumors started. I wanted to illustrate and show how I thought that the overlapping of Autopia, Finding Nemo's Submarine Voyage, the monorail, and the People Mover created a fantastic guest experience of Disney theme park kinetic synergy when it was all working. But over the years, when the People Mover went away, Autopia became outdated, California became short on water, and this area became problematic and is an excellent example of why Disney Imagineering has not created any overlapping attractions over the last decade. Simply put, this area could be transformed into an entire land the size of Adventureland, Toontown, or Avengers Campus. Tomorrowland's Outer Banks has a full theme park land just sitting inside of it. The monorail needs to be saved. That's our first thing on today's list, by the way. I would love to see the lagoon stay, but Nemo could go, and I think something much better could take its place. Autopia is outdated, too big. Your kids may love it, but trust me, they would also love what comes next. The People Mover rumors suggest this area may not be part of the new track design. If the rumors are true, it would indicate that my previous video would show that Disneyland sees this land as I do. It's too big not to be its own thing, and covered with outdated attractions offering little to no financial synergy. Our second item to save is the Disneyland Railroad's Tomorrowland Station. The Santa Fe and Disneyland Railroad's fourth and final train station was constructed in April of 1958. When it opened in '58, you could ride through the Grand Canyon, but the dinosaurs didn't show up until '66, just after the New York's World Fair. Like all of Tomorrowland, the station lacks a true identity, with 1950s modernism mixed with light fixtures from the 19th century and signage from the redesign of the 90s. It's easy to fix, easy to redesign. Whatever the future holds for Tomorrowland, this train stop on the outer edge will be a guaranteed part of the next chapter of Disneyland stories told in this location. We now arrive at our first officially dead space inside of Tomorrowland, the now mostly closed launch bay, which was initially the home to the Carousel of Progress. The Carousel of Progress would open in July of '67 after a successful run at the New York 1964 World's Fair. After running for more than 6 years in Disneyland, the Carousel of Progress show was closed permanently in 1973. From '74 to 1998, the bottom level of the Carousel Theater housed America Sings. The upper level became the Super Speed Tunnel and later the World of Tron for guests to see from the People Mover. If the People Mover comes back, we would most likely be stuck with this building that hasn't had a solid attraction for over 30 years. When America Sings stopped singing, the building became part of the 1998 renovation of Tomorrowland, and the Carousel Theater building became the West Coast home of Epcot's Innoventions. For a decade before that, it housed office spaces for Disneyland staff, and the building was not touched for nearly a decade. And now it seems the next chapter in the structure's troubled history is the newly announced Starview Station, a lounge exclusive for Disney Vacation Club members. A luxurious lounge for guests willing to pay luxurious rates, not unfavorable ones. You want the people mover back, but this is what comes at that price. A low-level installation catering to a few guests of Disneyland while the masses passes through to get a view at the more expensive version of living the Disney dream. Generations before us got Tron, and now we get FOMO. Something has to be placed on the top of this building for the people mover passengers to look at. And this is the best they could come up with. I'm not being negative, I'm being realistic, and I refuse to cover the park with rose-colored glasses. Anyone selling you the idea that the people mover returning is a great thing is not seeing the bigger picture, but instead falling for the cheap win. So enjoy the lounge. I would have preferred a new attraction here that everyone could enjoy, not just the Disneyland 1%. Committing to keeping this massive building so that you can meet Darth Vader if you have the proper credit card provider, or briefly passing through the top of it for a quick show scene of how the other half live from the people mover is too much of a real estate commitment. This building begins the list of structures I want to see removed, not preserved. For New Tomorrowland of 1967, Disneyland built a new, larger show building for the opening day attraction, Flight to the Moon's replacement, Rocket to the Moon. Later, in 1975, it became Mission to Mars. For everyone that says you can't get rid of Tomorrowland, Walt Disney created it, not one single existing building or attraction is from 1955. Even the opening day attraction, Autopia, is not the same attraction nor the exact location. And remember, Walt Disney didn't live long enough to see New Tomorrowland in 1967, which is the main culprit for today's layout. Mission to Mars closed in November of 1992, sitting empty for 6 years, a Tomorrowland tradition. It would see life again in 1998. The building was transformed into Red Rocket's Pizza Port. Red Rocket's Pizza Port changed its name to Alien Pizza Planet on April 13th of 2018. Never have I ever had someone tell me Alien Pizza Planet is the best pizza at Disneyland. And fun fact, it's the only pizza at Disneyland. The People Mover rolls through its courtyard and behind its former mid-century sign. If reimagined, this area could add a much better guest experience and use of space. Instead of a D-level pizza establishment, it could go back to being an attraction and a space of entertainment. Space Mountain creates the biggest obstacle for a Tomorrowland redesign. So far, I have only put the monorail and the Disneyland Railroad's Tomorrowland Station on the do not touch list, and I have to do the same thing with Space Mountain. Unfortunately for Disneyland, Space Mountain is an epic success, a multi-generational favorite attraction that defines the Disneyland experience. And this all, mind you, is coming from someone who can't ride it due to suffering from motion sickness and its cloak of spacey darkness. I'm putting this down as a keeper, and keep watching till the end of today's video to see my concept on how it should be preserved. And I say, unfortunately for Disneyland, it's a success because the one thing worth saving isn't at one of the two edges of the land, it's in the dead middle, making the Tomorrowland problem the most difficult to solve. Possibly the easiest solution is just to rebuild it, remove the dead theater below that hasn't been used in years and is currently abandoned, and make a better, large-scale Space Mountain with the confidence that this is a perfect Disney attraction that multiple generations have signed off on its iconic success. Another pair of empty structures tethered into the tracks of the People Mover is the Starrcade and the Star Trader. On May 4th, 1977, Starrcade at Disneyland first debuted. The brand new Space Mountain complex included its neighboring Starrcade, a well-known arcade operating in the heyday of coin-operated games. During the 90s, the first component to disappear was the Starrcade's second level. The second floor of Starrcade then served as a meeting room and a storage area in the years that would follow. Since the end of 2007, Starrcade has occasionally served as a location for retail, occasionally as a temporary movie promotion, but mostly has simply remained closed. The Starrcade is no longer open to normal park visitors, and as of 2018, it now provides Disney a private event space that can be rented for corporate events. In July 2018, the upper level was converted into extra queue space for its neighbor, Space Mountain. The Starrcade's next-door neighbor, the Star Trader, originally opened in 1967 as the Character Shop, but in 1987, to match the adjacent Star Tours, the shop was rethemed to match the attraction's Star Wars theme and renamed Star Trader. Windows along the People Mover's track allowed passengers to preview Star Trader as it passed along the top of the sales floor. The windows were blacked out following the attraction's closure in 1995 and were not reused for its replacement, rocket rods. Disneyland's developed in the last decade have put a new spin on shopping. Interactive offerings like Savi's Workshop, where guests build lightsabers, or the Droid Depot cross-promote merchandise and making memories. Star Traders is a overstuffed exit through the gift shop with flying saucers to promote Star Wars and a borrowed X-Wing fighter from its shutdown neighbor, the Starrcade. Even though both of these locations contain the word Star in their name, neither one of them are. In 1986, two new attractions found homes in Tomorrowland, Star Tours and Captain EO. Captain EO replaced the Space Stage in September of '86, and Star Tours replaced Adventure Through Inner Space not too long after, in January of '87. 20 years prior, Adventures Through Inner Space opened in Disneyland. Adventure Through Inner Space occupied the same structure that previously housed 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea walkthrough and originally the Monsanto Hall of Chemistry. So technically, it is the one building that Walt Disney himself did walk through 3 attractions ago, and therefore, probably some part of the building should be preserved and placed into whatever comes next. But Star Tours, sitting opposite of Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters, creates a hallway of redundancy. Disney all but signed off on a Star Tours long and slow death when it opened another flight simulator on the west side of Disneyland, with the expansion of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and the opening of Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. Land is tight at Disneyland, and 2 Star Wars flight simulators are simply not needed. But Brickey, my kids love it, and trust me, they'll also love whatever comes next. People always love option number 1 when they don't know what's behind door number 2. And listen, loving the People Mover is not wrong. Riding the Walt Disney World version is one of my favorite things to do when I'm lucky enough to go out east. But friends, let's dream of a better Tomorrowland, designed with the resources of modern technology and the skill set of the Imagineers that brought us Cars Land, Pandora, and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Let's ride a People Mover through a new tomorrow, not a broken, taped-together version of yesterday. My solution of fixing Tomorrowland? Preserving Walt's idea while improving the park for decades to come? Cut it up into 3 different parts. The top area, from Finding Nemo to It's a Small World, should become an expansion to Fantasyland. Beauty and the Beast at Tokyo Disneyland or an Arendelle-themed mountain and village are 2 styles of attractions that would fit perfectly and complement nicely. The train station could easily become the Fantasyland station, and the lower third of Tomorrowland could become more of Main Street USA, creating more seated dining, a possible upscale restaurant that provides firework views, and my dream, a Walt Disney Disneyland dark ride, where we ride on the Carolwood Pacific from Walt's backyard through Mickey Mouse Park and eventually end up in Disneyland in 1955, actually placing the original Tomorrowland back inside itself. This area would be entered through the hub where Astro Orbiter sits now, creating more town inside the town of Disneyland. And now, if you travel up to the Matterhorn and take a right down a long path to the future, you see Space Mountain waiting for you. Along the way, a few shops, dining experiences, and a D-level or 2 attraction awaits you. All themed around space, all themed to make your walk full of adventure. And if there is to be a people mover, let it circle this path, with views into Main Street Disneyland, the Matterhorn, and Fantasyland, while crossing paths with the monorail, while giving us new ride-through scenes that take us on new adventures. If there is to be a new people mover, my dream would be that it takes a lap around a new, well-designed, well-thought-out, shiny tomorrow, not a broken version of yesterday. And this is why bringing back the current people mover lacks imagination, lacks a forward-facing plan for Disneyland, and a lack of real financial resources and commitment to Walt's Park, which sounds about right for Disneyland of 2022. Friends, I hope I'm wrong, and I pray that I'm not right, that this is the direction this Disneyland administration is taking. And instead of looking forward to tomorrow, they're trying to find a way to fix yesterday. Some folks say that getting rid of Tomorrowland is getting rid of Walt's legacy and doing a disservice to his memory. I say letting it decay, looking cheap and broken, is the biggest disservice to how Walt wanted the town of Disneyland to evolve in the decades to come for generations of old and young. Walt Disney never chose the cheap or easy way. He chose the hard way. He focused on details because they matter. And bringing back the people mover, repainting and retheming all of these broken and decaying buildings is not of that principle, legacy, or the original mindset that built Disneyland.
Now, on a site of 240 acres near the city of Anaheim in Southern California, right about in here, we've begun to build Disneyland the place. We hope that it will be unlike anything else on this earth. Fair, amusement park, an exhibition, a city from the Arabian Nights, metropolis from the future. In fact, a place of hopes and dreams, facts and fancy, all in one. Now, next year, our television show will be coming from this Disneyland. But this year, we want you to see and share with us the experience of building this dream into a reality.